Hey Falcon fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Atlanta Falcons Today. I want to jump into a trade video. And we talk about trades all the time here on the channel. And even though there isn't any, imminent trade for the Atlanta Falcons, I want to get into some pre-training camp trade ideas. We're in kind of an interesting part of the NFL season. Not a lot going on. Some OTA news and rumors here and there. But there are still players that want to move on from their football teams. And there are still players that want to move on before training camp the way they can be a part of new teams during training camp. And so today, I want to revisit some players that I think could be some real trade options for Atlanta who has draft pick capital. They have money to go ahead and absorb contracts as well, and plenty of needs. And so we talked about some of these players. Others we haven't. Some are very unlikely. Some could actually happen. Who knows? But I want to give you guys some names to keep an eye on that if the Falcons want to make a move and add to the roster, these are some players that I think make the most sense. We'll start with Jalen Reagor. We talked about Jalen Reagor a lot here on the channel, the wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles. Former, first-round draft pick, famously tied to Justin Jefferson because the Vikings took Jefferson one pick after Reagor, and Jefferson's way better than Jalen Reagor, and he kind of just in a spot where he needs a new home. And in Philadelphia, they talked about keeping him, and they kind of, hint that they want to try and see if he works out here in year 3. But very clearly, I think he needs to be traded, and honestly, Atlanta makes a lot of sense. And what we've heard from Arthur Smith is that, at least over the past couple of days during OTAs, is they took in all these receivers, and the depth chart is full of receivers right now, and a lot of names that you recognize but aren't that great. Geronimo Allison, Auden Tate, trade for Bryan Edwards. But they're going to start to get rid of some of these guys. They're not going to keep all these wide receivers. And let's just say OTAs don't go so well for the majority of these guys. Maybe Arthur Smith sits back and goes, we need more receivers. Like, we're going to get rid of some of the guys, Allison or Allison or Tate or whoever. Let's bring in some more competition. Reagor makes a ton of sense. He'd be cheap, a 6th-round draft pick would probably do it. I mean, you're spending nothing on this guy. I think maybe he's just a head case in Philadelphia. You get him out of there, he could go back to being, the former first-round draft pick, or at least expected to be. There's no guarantees there, but he makes a ton of sense for the Atlanta Falcons, who I think are still trying to figure out this wide receiver core. Now, naturally, if they like what they have right now and they like what they're seeing, then there's no need for Reagor, and so they won't make a trade for him. But if they don't like what they have, I definitely think Reagor makes some sense for the Atlanta Falcons. Add a pin comment down below. Name a player you would trade for right now. Do you have anyone in mind? Is it Reagor? Is it someone else on my list, which you'll see here in a second? Is there a player that you would want to trade for right now? Let me know who that is for our Falcons right now. All right, we'll bring up another wide receiver, one that we haven't talked about here on the channel, but it would make sense. KJ Hamler, the wide receiver for the Broncos. 2nd-round draft pick out of Penn State. Hamler was supposed to be this speedy kind of slot guy, run after catch, going to be crazy, and he just never really became that. Injury was a big deal last year at the ACL. Had some personal off-the-field stuff that obviously was mentally challenging for him as well that he has talked about. But really, we're in a spot right now where he could be traded before training camp, mainly because Denver has a ton of wide receivers. Tim Daniels is the guy that they obviously extended. Incredible job last year. Russell Wilson's already said how much he likes guys like Jerry Jeudy, who hopefully can stay out of trouble. But their receiving core is stacked, and Hamler, with the with the on-the-field injury issue, even though he's going to be healthy from that, might be the odd man out. And much like Reagor, you're trading for a guy who had incredible potential, who wouldn't be very expensive to trade for, and if he comes to the right spot and, kind of resets his career, you could get the actual talent that he was drafted to be in round 2 out of Penn State. And so, again, if they like their current receivers, no need for them. But guys like Reagor and Hamler fit the bill of someone who the Atlanta Falcons don't really have right now. They have tall, you talk about the Twin Towers with Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Obviously, Tate's a big receiver. Allison's a big receiver. They have plenty of big guys. A slice and dicer like what Calvin Ridley used to be in either Reagor or Hamler, to me, would make a lot of sense. Who do you think is the worst wide receiver on this roster right now? It's hard to say because, literally it's Drake London and everybody else. Like, you don't know which of the non-Drake Londons are the worst. But let me know what you guys think is the worst wide receiver on the Falcons right now. Curious where Falcon fans' mind is at on this one. All right, we'll throw an offensive lineman because Arthur Smith, obviously, during OTAs, talked about it in a video yesterday, did mention that he expects to bring in more offensive line competition. What about the Jets' Chuma Edoga? I think that's how you say his last name. Edoga, the backup tackle right now for the New York Jets. The Jets have been adding offensive linemen to protect Zach Wilson. They seem very confident in what they have right now, and Chuma's a guy who I think could easily be expendable, and again, cheap for the Atlanta Falcons to trade for. Now, we know that they need competition and depth at offensive tackle, and they've added, some of these spots here. Maybe Mayfield goes back to his natural spot at right tackle and competes with McGarry, who knows? But more depth is not a bad thing. More competition with this very mediocre group is not a bad thing. And I think maybe it's Edoga, it could be somebody else, but if you wanted to trade for somebody, an Andre Dillard out of Philadelphia, this would be a very important position I think that they would definitely be interested in doing. McGarry, we hope, is going to be that guy, but maybe he's not that guy, pal, as the famous, as Vine, or what, no, it's not a Vine, it's a TikTok says. You're not that guy, pal. Maybe he's not that guy. And if he's not that guy, you're going to need to get someone who can be that guy, and we're not saying that Edoga's going to be that, but he adds depth and competition to the offensive line. Okay, something that you do need is the Falcons polos you see on your screen right now that are on sale for $41.99 at the link on the screen in the description box. Chatsports.com/Falcons Polo gets you the red and black 2-pack polo for you to rock on the golf course. I was golfing this past weekend and I saw a couple people rocking some Falcons attire. That to me is the one place where you gotta get a Falcon polo. Obviously, Father's Day as well can make a lot of sense. Pick these up right now. Chatsports.com/Falcons Polo. Get the red and the black for $41 right now, which is a crazy good deal. $20 a polo, basically. Again, the link is down below, also in the description box. All authentic stuff. Check it out right now. Okay, I'm going to give you the most ridiculous option here because it's very unlikely, but boy, would this be a move. How about Robert Quinn, the Bears pass rusher? Did you watch a lot of Bear games last year? If you didn't, you missed out on a top 3 defensive end statistically, literally in the entire National Football League. Now, he'd be expensive. I mean, you're talking about a second-round draft pick, first-round draft pick, I don't know how much, but at least a second to go ahead and get this guy. Then you got to pay him as well, but then you get the best pass rusher Atlanta has had in forever. I mean, in a long, long time. And don't take my word for it. Look at his stats from last year. We're talking about 16 games, 18 and a half sacks. I mean, the Bears were terrible last year, but Quinn was great. 18 and a half sacks, 49 tackles, 22 quarterback hits. Imagine that in Atlanta. Atlanta has not had anyone close to that. I can't even remember. Has they ever had a guy get 18 and a half sacks? They might not have. Oh, man, he would be great. Again, expensive. I think unlikely, but you would take this defensive line, which I think is going to be better. Katie obviously being added in round 2 out of Penn State. They got some year 2 guys, the guy in the 4th round. I think they have some pieces there, but you want to really make this better. You want to really help out Grady Jarrett, who's newly re-signed, the D-tackle spot. Quinn makes a ton of sense. He would be, in my opinion, a great option to trade for if you wanted to really put some equity into that position going into training camp. Who do you think leads the Falcons in sacks in 2022? Kind of hoping it's Katie, maybe Lorenzo Carter, I don't know, but who do you think actually leads the Falcons in sacks right now when we get to the actual start of the season? Let me know what you think down below in the comments section. Okay, final player here, mentioned him on a video last week, we'll bring him up again. How about Saquon Barkley? I'm looking at the running back position, and they did some work. Algier converting Avery Williams over from cornerback. Cordell Patterson is still there. Like, they have some options. Damian Williams in free agency, but why not add to the mix? It's like the wide receiver group. Like, you have pieces, but not very good pieces, or at least unproven pieces, if anything. Barkley is, I would say, proven to an extent because, of course, he was great early. I mean, was looking like he was going to be the next great, elite running back, and then all the injuries and stuff. So he's not been able to stay on the football field. But if you could guarantee health, he wouldn't be much to trade for. 4th-round draft pick, 5th-round draft pick. He wouldn't be very expensive because obviously they're not going to renew his contract. I think once he's done with that rookie deal in in New York, I think Barkley could make some sense for a Falcons football team that needs to run the football. Like, even though the offensive line's been bad, I think the running backs have been bad as well. It's not like we have great running backs and there's just no holes there. It's a combination of both. Barkley, at least if healthy, can be a juke, move, get through the hole, one-cut kind of guy, and I think could make a lot of sense for the Atlanta Falcons if they want to do that. There aren't a lot of other running backs, though. That's kind of the issue. I was looking at other running backs to trade for, and at least guys that have been hinted at potentially being moved. Barkley is definitely one of them, and so it's really up to Atlanta if they feel like they need it, which I think they're going to find out as we get closer to training camp, based on how running backs perform, and the coaching staff gets in there and gets to, get their hands on these guys. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do at the running back spot if they don't make a move. If they want to, though, Barkley could make some sense. What do you think? Name a player from my list you would trade for. You got Reagor, you got Hamler, the two wide receivers. You got Edoga, the tackle, the backup one out of the Jets. Quinn, the expensive one. Robert Quinn, the pass rusher from the Bears. 18.5 sacks would be nuts, would be crazy. And Saquon Barkley. So let me know from this list if there is one you want to go ahead and trade for. I would do... Honestly, I think Hamler would be he'd be the cheapest one, right? And so, like, overall, talking about cheap, I think he could be a really successful receiver in the right spot. And I'll say Quinn, because Quinn would be fun, but unlikely, I would say, which I said, obviously, during the video. Okay, ultimately today on our Atlanta Falcons pre-training camp trade video here. Plenty more content coming up on the channel this week, as we always do. Hashtag Falcons in the comment section right now to be a part of our mailbag video, which will be happening later on this week, which is where it's your chance as a subscriber to be a part of the channel and get your voice asked and asked. You got a question, you can go ahead and get that down in the comment section right now. Use the hashtag Falcons, that way I can find the question, and of course be a subscriber, because that's kind of the whole key right there, be a subscriber. Okay, ultimately today on our Atlanta Falcons trade video, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.